My dear friends, there is a beautiful saying: life is 10% what happens to us, and 90% how we respond to it. The difference between peace and chaos, between strength and struggle, often lies in one simple choice: to respond, not react. Let's be honest, life is full of moments that test us. Someone says something rude, a co-worker takes credit for your work, a friend forgets your birthday, or your child talks back when you've had a long day. In those moments, our mind feels like a volcano, hot, impatient, ready to erupt. That is what reaction looks like. But a strong woman, a wise woman, she pauses, she breathes, she smiles, not because she's weak, but because she knows her power is in her peace. You see, reacting is easy. Anyone can do it. You push me, I push back. You hurt me, I hurt you. That's instinct. But responding, that takes mastery. Responding means pausing between the stimulus and the action, taking a breath, and choosing your words with grace instead of anger. Imagine this: you're driving to work, already running a bit late. Someone cuts in front of your car, honks at you like it's your fault, and drives away. Instantly, your blood boils. You feel that familiar irritation rising. You can shout, honk back, maybe chase them. Or you can pause, take a deep breath, and say, maybe they're in a hurry. Maybe their mother is in the hospital. Let me not lose my peace for someone else's panic. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Life constantly gives us these small tests. The true exam of character is not in big crises, but in how you handle the small irritations of daily life. How you respond when someone speaks rudely. How you behave when plans don't go your way. How you treat others when you're tired, hungry, or upset. Those moments reveal your strength. Let me share a small story. Once, a lady came to a saint and said, "Everyone around me makes me angry. My husband doesn't listen, my children don't obey, and my mother-in-law criticizes everything I do." The saint smiled and said, "My dear, take this glass of water and carry it from one end of the garden to the other without spilling a drop." The woman did as told, focusing completely on the water in her hand. When she reached the other end, the saint asked, "Did anyone make you angry while you walked?" She replied, "No, because I was too focused on not spilling the water." The saint said, "Exactly. When you focus on your peace, on your inner calm, no one can make you angry. When you respond instead of reacting, you are protecting your energy the same way that woman protected her water. You stop giving people the power to spill your peace. You take charge of your emotions instead of letting situations control you. Think about it. How many times have we reacted in anger and later regretted it? Maybe we shouted at someone we love, said something we didn't mean, or took a decision we wish we could undo. A reaction may last a second, but its consequences can last a lifetime. That's why it's so important to train your mind to pause before you speak, to breathe before you act. Strong women know this art. They have learned to turn their emotions into their allies, not their enemies. They don't let anger, jealousy, or frustration rule them. Instead, they use understanding, patience, and composure as their weapons. They have realized that peace is more powerful than rage, and silence can be louder than arguments. Let's take another everyday example. You're at work, and your boss criticizes you unfairly in front of others. You feel hurt, maybe humiliated. You could snap back, defend yourself loudly, that's a reaction. But if you breathe, stay calm, and later approach your boss privately to discuss it, that's a response. One makes things worse, the other earns respect. Responding also helps you see the bigger picture. Maybe that rude person is going through their own pain. Maybe that cold colleague is fighting a silent battle. When you choose to respond calmly, you're not only protecting yourself, you're spreading calmness around you. Your peace becomes contagious. Here's something I've learned from observing wise people. When others lose their cool, they lose control. When you stay calm, you gain control. Every time you respond with grace, you're telling the universe, I am stronger than the storm. And slowly you'll notice situations stop controlling you and you start mastering them. Reacting may feel satisfying for a moment, but it drains you. Responding might take patience, but it builds you. Reacting comes from emotion, responding comes from evolution. And every time you choose to respond, you evolve a little more into the person you are meant to be. Calm, confident, unshakable. So the next time someone tries to trigger you, smile and remember this line. When you throw mud at someone, your hands get dirty first. Don't pick up the mud. Don't engage in every argument. Don't explain yourself to every critic. Some people don't deserve your reaction, they deserve your silence. And your silence will speak volumes. It will say, I'm not here to prove, I'm here to grow. Remember, your peace is precious. Don't give it away so easily. Protect it like that glass of water. Because when you learn to respond, not react, you start walking through life with grace. You begin to glow differently. People notice, not because you shout louder, but because you shine calmer. So, the next time life throws you a test, pause, breathe, smile. Don't let the world decide your mood. You decide your mood. You decide your response. And when you do, my dear, you become unstoppable. You become the woman who walks through fire and never lets the flames touch her peace. My dear friends, there's something truly powerful about a woman who knows her worth, not from what the world tells her, but from what she tells herself. In life, people will have opinions about you, some kind, some cruel, some completely wrong. But remember this truth, your value never decreases because someone fails to see it. You don't lose your shine because someone else is wearing sunglasses. We live in a world where everyone has something to say. Social media, workplaces, families. Opinions are flying around like dust in the air. You can't stop them, but you can choose not to breathe them in. The moment you start believing in every opinion about you, you give away your power. And the moment you start believing in your own value, you take that power back. Let's start with a simple example. Imagine you're holding a crisp 100 bill. I ask, who wants it? Almost everyone would raise their hand. Then I crumple it, throw it on the ground, step on it. Now it's dirty and wrinkled. I pick it up and ask again, who still wants it? Every hand still goes up. Why? Because its value hasn't changed. The same is true for you. People may wrinkle your confidence, throw you into difficult situations, or step on your emotions, but your value remains untouched. You were priceless before they hurt you, and you're still priceless after they did. Yet, so often, we let people's words decide how we see ourselves. A negative comment can echo in our mind for days. A single rejection can make us doubt years of effort. Why? Because we forget who we are. We start seeing ourselves through their eyes instead of our own. But remember, people's opinions are reflections of their limitations, not your potential. Let me share a real life example. There was once a young girl who wanted to be a writer. She poured her heart into her first book, but when she sent it to publishers, she got rejected. Not once, not twice, but 12 times. One publisher even told her, "You'll never make it. Your story isn't worth printing." That girl could have believed them, stopped writing, and accepted their judgment. But she didn't. She believed in her worth, in her words, in her story. That girl was J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Today, her books are loved by millions around the world. Imagine if she had let someone else define her value. This is what strong women do. They don't wait for validation. They validate themselves. They don't need applause to know their power. They already know they're worthy, even when the world stays silent. Now think about your own life. How many times have people told you, "You can't do this"? Maybe they said you're too young, too old, too emotional, too ambitious. But the truth is, you are never too anything for your purpose. You are exactly what you need to be, right where you are. Every flaw, every scar, every setback, they don't make you less valuable, they make you real. There's a beautiful lesson in nature. Have you ever seen a diamond before it's polished? It looks like an ordinary stone, rough, dull, unimpressive. But deep inside, it holds extraordinary value. It just needs time, pressure, and polishing to reveal its brilliance. Likewise, when life puts you under pressure, when people doubt you or judge you, that's not your downfall, that's your polishing process. You're being shaped into something beautiful. Here's another thought. When someone underestimates you, don't try to prove them wrong immediately. Prove yourself right silently. Because time has a beautiful way of revealing what people can't see right now. Keep doing your work. Keep walking your path. You don't need to shout your worth. Your consistency will speak louder than their criticism. Let's take a simple daily example. Imagine you're at your job, working hard, giving your best. But your boss doesn't appreciate you. Maybe your efforts go unnoticed, or someone else gets the credit. You start feeling invisible, like your worth doesn't matter. But here's the truth. Your worth doesn't come from recognition. Recognition is a reflection of others' awareness, not your value. Just because someone fails to see your effort doesn't mean your effort is meaningless. The sun doesn't stop shining just because someone closes their curtains. Sometimes, people will project their insecurities onto you. They'll make you doubt yourself because they doubt themselves. Don't take it personally. When someone belittles you, it's often because they feel small inside. When they try to dim your light, it's because they can't handle the brightness. So instead of shrinking, shine brighter. The world doesn't need smaller women. It needs stronger, bolder, self-assured ones. And here's something important to remember. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. When you respect yourself, others will too. When you love yourself, others will learn how to love you. But when you keep seeking validation, you'll always be chasing approval that may never come. So today, stop asking, "Am I enough?" You are not just enough, you are more than enough. Stop comparing your journey to others. Flowers don't compete, they just bloom in their season. Your timing is yours, your story is unique, and your path is sacred. People may forget your name, criticize your dreams, or misunderstand your intentions. But they can never erase your value that belongs to you and only you. So when someone tries to make you feel small, smile and remind yourself, I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. You are not defined by their rejection. You are refined by it. You are not shaped by their opinions. You are strengthened by your truth. My dear friend, let this message echo in your heart. You don't lose value because someone can see your worth. You lose value only when you stop believing in it yourself. So keep walking tall, keep shining bright, and never lower your value tag just because someone else can't afford your spirit. You are valuable not for what you do or what you look like, but for who you are, and who you are is enough. My dear friends, there's a beautiful balance in life between holding on and letting go, between caring deeply and staying peaceful. So many people confuse strength with attachment. They think loving someone means clinging to them, worrying constantly, or trying to control every outcome. But true strength lies in detachment, not distance. It's not about running away from people. It's about rising above pain. It's not about closing your heart. It's about opening it without fear of losing yourself in the process. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering because you care too much. It means you love fully, but you don't let that love destroy your peace. You give your best to people, to work, to life, but you don't tie your happiness to how others treat you or how situations turn out. Because if your peace depends on everything going right, you'll be restless all your life. Let's take a small, simple example from daily life. Imagine you're a mother watching your child take their first steps. You want to hold them to make sure they don't fall, but you know if you keep holding on, they'll never learn to walk. So, with love, you let go. You stand nearby, ready to catch them if they stumble, but you allow them to walk their own path. That's detachment. It's love with wisdom. Now think about how often we do the opposite in life. We hold on too tightly to people, to expectations, to outcomes. We try to control everything around us because it gives us a false sense of safety. But in doing so, we exhaust ourselves. We start overthinking, overcaring, overpleasing. And slowly, we lose the most important person in the process, ourselves. Strong women understand this truth deeply. They have learned that detachment is not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of emotion. It means you can love someone without depending on them for your happiness. You can care deeply and still remain centered. You can give your all and still be okay if things don't go as planned. Let me tell you a story. There was once a woman named Meera who worked tirelessly to make everyone around her happy. Her family, her friends, her co-workers. She would drop everything to help others, even when she was tired or struggling herself. But one day, she realized something. The more she gave, the more people expected, and the less anyone appreciated. She felt empty. That's when she learned the power of detachment. She didn't stop caring, but she stopped overgiving. She started setting healthy boundaries. She began to say no when she needed rest. She stopped chasing validation. And slowly, she found peace again. This is what detachment looks like: staying kind without letting people drain your kindness, staying loving without losing your self respect, staying available without being always accessible. It's knowing that sometimes stepping back is an act of strength, not coldness. One of the biggest misconceptions about detachment is that it makes you cold or selfish. But it's the opposite. Detachment allows you to love more purely. When you are detached, your love comes from freedom, not fear. You're not loving to get something back. You're loving because it's who you are. When you stop clinging, your love becomes unconditional. Think about relationships. Sometimes we hold on so tightly to someone, afraid they'll leave, afraid they'll change, that we stop enjoying the connection. We analyze every message, every word, every silence. We create storms in our mind that were never there in reality. But when you practice detachment, you realize you don't need to chase what's meant for you. What's meant to stay will stay, and what's meant to leave will leave, no matter how hard you hold on. That realization brings peace. Detachment also teaches you how to handle disappointment gracefully. Life won't always go your way. People will change. Opportunities will fade. Plans will fall apart. But when you are detached, you don't break. You bend. You flow with life like a river, not fight it like a rock. You learn to say, maybe this didn't work out because something better is waiting. And that attitude changes everything. Let's take another example. Imagine you apply for your dream job. You prepare, you give your best interview, but you don't get selected. If you're attached, you'll think, I'm not good enough. I failed. But if you're detached, you'll say, I did my best. The result is not in my hands. That one shift in perspective can protect your heart from unnecessary pain. Detachment is also important in friendships and family. Sometimes people we love deeply start drifting away. Maybe they grow distant, maybe they hurt us unknowingly. Our instinct is to chase them, fix things, question ourselves. But strong women understand, not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some are chapters, not the whole story. When you detach, you allow space for others to grow, and space for yourself to heal. And sometimes, detachment is not from people, but from your own thoughts. Overthinking is one of the biggest thieves of peace. We replay conversations, regret mistakes, imagine what ifs. But when you detach from those thoughts, when you stop identifying with every emotion that passes through your mind, you start living freely. You begin to observe instead of absorb. You become calm even in chaos. My dear friends, detachment is not running away from life. It's learning to dance in it without fear. It's loving people without trying to own them. It's chasing dreams without being crushed by failure. It's giving your best effort and leaving the rest to time, to destiny, to God. When you master this, you become unshakable. No situation can control you. No person can break you. No disappointment can define you. You become like the sky, vast, open, untouched by passing clouds. So today, choose to love deeply, but live freely. Care sincerely, but protect your peace. Be kind, but stay grounded. Because when you learn to detach, not disappear, you don't lose love. You discover a higher kind of love, one that brings peace, not pain, one that makes you stronger, not smaller. And that, my friends, is how you rise with heart full of love and hands free of attachment. My dear friends, in a world that never stops talking, silence has become one of the most powerful languages you can speak. We live in times where everyone has an opinion, everyone wants to respond instantly, and every disagreement turns into a debate. But strong women, wise women, they understand something deeper. Silence is not emptiness, it is energy. It is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is not running away from chaos, it is rising above it. When you choose silence, it doesn't mean you have nothing to say. It means you have understood that not everything deserves a reaction, and not everyone deserves an explanation. Silence is strength because it teaches you to protect your peace when the world tries to disturb it. Think about your daily life. Maybe someone gossips about you at work, twisting your words, spreading half-truths. Your first instinct is to defend yourself, to prove them wrong, to speak louder. But then you pause and realize, people who want to misunderstand, you will always find a way to do so, no matter what you say. So you smile, stay silent, and let your actions do the talking. Days later, truth shines through, and you stand tall, not because you shouted, but because you stayed grounded. That is the beauty of silence. Silence has a way of protecting your energy. Every time you argue with someone who doesn't want to understand, you lose a piece of your peace. Every time you try to explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you, you give away your power. But when you stay silent, you keep that power within. You become calm like the ocean, deep, steady, and strong. There's a beautiful story about Buddha. Once, a man came to him, shouting angrily, insulting him, trying to provoke him. Buddha just smiled and said nothing. After a while, the man grew tired and left. The disciples asked, "Master, why didn't you say anything?" Buddha replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who does it belong to?" They answered, "To the giver." Buddha smiled, "Exactly. He offered me his anger. I did not accept it. It remains with him." That, my dear friends, is the power of silence. In your own life, how many arguments could you have avoided if you had stayed silent? How many regrets would you not have if you had paused before speaking in anger? Sometimes we think that speaking immediately solves problems, but often it only deepens wounds. Silence gives you space to think, to reflect, to heal. It helps you respond with clarity instead of reacting with emotion. Let's take another example. Imagine you're in a relationship and your partner says something hurtful in a moment of anger. You feel the sting, and your mind fills with words you want to throw back. But then you stop yourself. You realize that both anger and silence speak, but in different languages. Anger speaks to hurt, silence speaks to heal. When you choose silence, you're giving love a chance to breathe. Later, when emotions calm down, you can talk with understanding instead of accusation. That moment of silence becomes a bridge that saves the relationship from breaking. Silence is also a teacher. It teaches you self-control, patience, and awareness. It teaches you that not every battle is yours to fight. Sometimes the best response to disrespect is your absence. Sometimes the best way to prove your worth is to keep working quietly while others make noise. Because one day, your results will make the loudest sound of all. There is another kind of silence, The silence that comes when life breaks your heart. Maybe you've lost someone, faced rejection, or experienced failure. In those moments, words don't heal, silence does. When you sit quietly with your pain, you allow yourself to process, to grow, to listen to the voice within. Because deep inside that silence, there is wisdom whispering, you will rise again. Even in nature, silence is sacred. The most peaceful places on earth, mountains, forests, oceans, don't make noise, yet they move our souls. The sun rises silently, yet it lights up the whole world. Flowers bloom quietly, yet they spread fragrance everywhere. The stars shine silently, yet they guide travelers through darkness. The universe doesn't need to shout to be powerful, and neither do you. Silence also protects relationships. Sometimes, the best way to maintain peace is to stop arguing about who's right and who's wrong. Because when ego speaks, love disappears. But when silence speaks, understanding grows. You may not always win the argument, but you will win your peace. And peace, my friends, is worth far more than being right. Let me tell you something I've observed about strong women. When others insult them, they don't respond with anger, they respond with silence and self-respect. When others doubt them, they don't argue, they simply prove through action. When others gossip, they don't defend, they just keep walking forward. Because they know silence confuses the ignorant, calms the wise, and protects the peaceful. Silence also builds your inner strength. When you sit quietly each morning, even for a few minutes, and listen to your thoughts, your heartbeat, your breath, you connect with your true self. You stop being tossed around by the noise of the world and start living from a place of calm awareness. This is how great leaders, artists, and thinkers find clarity, not in chaos, but in calm. My dear friends, silence is not just the absence of words, it's the presence of wisdom. It's choosing peace over pride, maturity over madness, and calmness over chaos. It doesn't mean you allow others to walk over you. It means you've learned when to speak and when to simply smile. So, the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, your silence is not your weakness, it's your strength. When people talk behind your back, let them. Lions don't turn around when small dogs bark. Keep walking, keep glowing, keep growing, and when life feels heavy, when words feel too small for your pain, sit in silence. In that quiet space, your heart will whisper what your mind has been too loud to hear. You are strong, you are safe, you are still becoming. Silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. Sometimes the most powerful transformations are happening quietly within you. Like a seed growing underground before it breaks through the soil, unseen but unstoppable. So learn to love your silence. Protect it, honor it, and let it speak for you. Because sometimes silence isn't empty, it's full of answers the noise can never give. My dear friends, there's something incredibly powerful about pain, something most people run away from, yet the strongest souls embrace. Pain is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. It doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to develop you. It doesn't arrive to punish you, it arrives to prepare you. Every time life hurts you, it's molding you into someone wiser, stronger, and deeper. Pain is not a curse, it's a classroom. We all go through moments that shake us to the core. Heartbreaks, betrayals, losses, disappointments, failures. In those moments, it's easy to ask, why me? But maybe a better question is, what is this pain trying to teach me? Because every hurt carries a hidden lesson, and those lessons are the stepping stones to your growth. Think about it. When do you grow the most? When everything is easy, or when life challenges you? When everything goes smoothly, we become comfortable. But when pain enters our lives, it forces us to look deeper, to change, to evolve. A storm may scare you, but it also clears the air. Pain, in the same way, clears your path and shows you what truly matters. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you've worked so hard for something, a promotion, a project, a relationship, and it falls apart. You feel broken, disappointed, maybe even angry at yourself or at life. But later, you realize that the rejection that broke you was actually redirection. You didn't lose. You were being guided towards something better, something more aligned with who you're becoming. That's how pain works. It doesn't take from you, it transforms you. There's a beautiful saying, a diamond is nothing but a piece of coal that handled pressure exceptionally well. Without pressure, that coal would have remained ordinary. It's the same with you. Without the pressure of pain, you'd never discover your true strength. Without the fire of struggle, you'd never realize how brightly you can shine. Pain refines you the way fire refines gold, burning away everything that isn't pure until only your best self remains. Let's look at an everyday example. Imagine a mother raising her children alone. She faces financial struggles, sleepless nights, and endless responsibilities. There are days when she feels like giving up, but she doesn't. She wipes her tears, puts on a smile, and keeps going. Over time, that pain gives her a kind of quiet power, a strength no gym can build, no book can teach. That's the strength pain gives you, the strength to endure, to rise, to inspire. Sometimes pain shows up as loss. Maybe someone you love deeply walks away or life takes them away. The emptiness feels unbearable. But slowly, through the silence of grief, you start hearing your soul's voice again. You realize you are still standing. You realize love doesn't end, it changes form. It becomes compassion, empathy, kindness. The very pain that broke your heart begins to expand it. There's also the pain of failure, when your plans fall apart despite your best efforts. Maybe you started a business that didn't succeed, or a dream that didn't work out. You feel embarrassed, defeated. But failure, my friend, is just feedback. It's life's way of saying, there's a better way. Every successful person you admire has failed, not once, but many times. The difference is, they didn't stop at the pain, they used it as fuel. They turned their wounds into wisdom. Pain also teaches humility. When everything goes your way, it's easy to become proud, to think you have everything under control. But when pain strikes, you remember you're human, you learn empathy. You start to understand what others are going through. You become softer in heart, kinder in words, and gentler in judgment. You stop mocking others' struggles because you've lived through your own. Pain connects us in ways comfort never can. Let's take another beautiful example. A seed, before it becomes a flower, must break. It's buried in darkness, in the soil, unseen and forgotten. It has to crack open before it can grow upward toward the light. Without that breaking, there would be no blooming. In the same way, Every breaking in your life is a sign that something new is about to grow from within you. Don't curse your breaking, it's your becoming. Sometimes pain also comes to remove what's not meant for you. A toxic relationship ends, a job opportunity slips away, a friendship fades, and you wonder why. But later, when you look back, you realize those endings were blessings in disguise. You were being freed to make room for something better. Just like you can't fill a cup that's already full, you can't receive new blessings while clinging to what's hurting you. Pain empties you so that life can fill you again, this time with peace, purpose, and strength. When you go through pain, you also discover who truly stands by you. In your darkest times, fake friends disappear and true ones remain. Pain filters your circle and purifies your heart. It teaches you not to chase people, not to beg for love, not to rely on others for your happiness. You realize your peace is your responsibility. That awareness is the beginning of freedom. So, when pain visits you, welcome it like a wise teacher. Sit with it. Ask it what it came to teach. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you detachment. Maybe it's teaching you to find strength in solitude. But whatever the lesson is, it's valuable. Don't rush the process. Healing takes time, and growth often hides behind the ache. Remember, even a wound heals stronger than the skin around it. Every scar you carry tells a story, not of pain, but of survival. You've made it through things you once thought would break you. And that means you're already stronger than you know. Pain doesn't make you weaker, it makes you real. It strips away the superficial layers and brings you face to face with your soul. It teaches you that you don't need everything to go right to be happy. You just need to be at peace with what's happening. So the next time you face pain, don't run from it. Feel it, learn from it, and let it shape you. Cry if you must, but rise afterward with new wisdom. Because when life squeezes you, it's only trying to see what's inside you. Let it find courage, let it find grace, let it find faith. One day, you'll look back at your hardest times and realize that was the chapter that made you unbreakable. That was the fire that made you shine. That was the pain that built the woman you were meant to be.